Hi and welcome to my video on the Viixm, and I try and try and spell that out for you. It's V-I-I-X-M Magic Shot Selfie Stick Tripod. Now this particular tripod is for your smartphone. Got to get that right. For your smartphone and not for your camera. So it's just strictly for smartphones. It is Bluetooth. It has a remote and the stem is aluminium. On this side it just has a simple instruction how to use the selfie stick and how to fold out the top part, but we'll come to that later, and connecting the Bluetooth button. And on the back it's the same thing again, just with a picture of it closed. And on that side, on the last side now, it just tells you how to take out the remote that it has, and this remote uses a battery, but we'll come to that later, and just some general info about the actual selfie stick on the bottom. Now these are the items that you get in the box. Now you don't get this particular item here, this big round cap here. That's a Canon cap for my lens, but you do get a spare battery, and that's the reason why I put the battery on top of the lens cap. Otherwise it would be hard to see on this background here. Now in the box you get an instruction leaflet here, basically telling you how to use it, how to open it out, especially the legs and the mount at the top, and how to fit the battery into the remote. So you get that. You also get a coin cell battery, a spare one. Now I tried to bring it to the camera. It is very small, and this is a CR1220 3-volt battery. So you get one of them spare with this product, and I'll try to get it into focus. So you get that. And now we come to the actual selfie stick itself. Now this selfie stick is quite compact. This selfie stick tripod is quite compact, and it is literally all made of plastic apart from this collar around here that supports the legs, and this is made out of aluminium, plus the stem is out of aluminium. Now the legs act not only as legs when you put this in the tripod position, but as a handle as well. Now there is no grip or texture on this handle, it's just smoothed plastic. On the bottom we have some rubber feet on there at the bottom, and when we open the legs out, keeping the legs together is a magnet. So within here, within this body here, there is a magnet which keeps the legs clipped together. Now the legs are made of, I'd say, a decent plastic, but they're not so thick, but they're not flimsy, so they're in between. They're not the thickest tripod legs I've come across, and they're not the thinnest, they're just in between. Next we have the actual stem that's retracted in, and it has this kind of gunmetal grey colour here, with a cap on the bottom. Now I first looked at this and I thought these were holes to put a lanyard, and they're not holes to put a lanyard in. It's just a cap here at the bottom, so these are not lanyard holes. Next we move up and we have this aluminium collar with these cutouts in there for the legs obviously, and these markings here just to give it a bit more a kind of premium look to it. Now that is made out of metal. This top part here now, which holds the remote, is made out of plastic, and now we have the remote, and as you can see on the remote here we have a shutter button which has the camera logo on there, and that's to stop and start your recording or to press to take a photo. Minutely, I try and fit that into the camera, try and get that into shot. We have a LED light here. So when you take a picture, that will flash, and also it's used to when you're pairing the remote. Then we have the name of the company itself, and within there we have the battery that's placed in there to operate the remote. And at the top here, we now have the head for the mount, and the mount folds back in on itself here, as you can see. Now this is how you open the mount for your camera. We simply lift this back so we get it in that position. We hold the selfie stick like so. We have our other hand and we take the selfie stick, the mount at the top, and we're going to push the mount that way. And as you push, I'll try and get it on camera, as you push, it's spring loaded, so it'll come out. I'll try and get this by holding that. It's spring loaded, so that will come out one. It'll come to one lock. Just keep turning, it'll come to the second lock. And now we've got the actual mount out. Mount is spring loaded. We have rubber at the top here. As we come down, we have this little flap here at the side, and that comes out, and that's for the bottom piece of your phone. So this isn't spring loaded at the bottom, only the top is. So this is fixed, spring loaded, and your phone, taking my phone here, fits into it like so. Now this can take your large phones. So if you got the pluses, they can fit in here. So any large phones will fit in here. Now at the moment it's in landscape. Now at the back we have a pivot point here. So this particular mount can go into portrait position. Now to turn it to portrait position, sorry folks, we turn it to the left. Now you have to be careful, so you'll have to hold the back of the mount, and it's quite notchy. It is one of the most notchiest mounts on a selfie stick tripod I've ever come across. So you can fix it into that position if you want it at a 45-degree angle, and they're at a 90. Now please bear in mind it is very, very notchy. This is how it looks when it's fully extended, the magic snapshot. Now from the bottom of the selfie stick to the top, they state that the manufacturer state it's 29 inches, 29.5 inches in length. Now I don't go by that, because to me you're losing some inches off the top where the mount is, and you're losing inches off the bottom where the handle is. So I normally just go by where the top of the handle to the bottom of the mount, and between these 2 points to me is the true extension length, which is the stem itself. It measures at 19 inches. Contracted down, and this is how it looks when it's contracted down with the phone on, its actual length from the top where the mount starts, the phone mount starts, to the bottom, it's 7.5 inches in length. Starting at the top here with the phone mount, as you can see, it's at 90 degrees. But I've noticed with this particular, with the magic snapshot, is even though it's at 90 degrees, there's still a little bit of a give. So it's just past 90 degrees, probably, if you're measuring it, I think it's probably at 97 degrees. If I'm wrong, please put it down in the comment. But it leans back at this. So just past 90 degrees, and also you can have it straight down facing you like that. So it's not one of them particular selfie sticks where the phone can go all the way back, literally back at that angle, and come all the way at 180 degrees. This just comes just a little outside 90 degrees. Now the stem comes out into 5 sections with, as I come close, with a seam at the front here and a seam at the back. And the one thing I've noticed, and you get this with a lot of these manufacturers, only a few do it slightly different. These collars here, now these collars here are of plastic, where the stem comes out. It doesn't use as a twist lock motion to lock each section in. It just uses friction with these particular collars, so there's no need to twist at all. And because these collars, this has a kind of gunmetal grey in colour, they've made the collars black. Now, I would say this to these manufacturers, these smartphones, I don't think it costs that much to change those collars, or in the ingredients of the plastic that you use to make up the plastic, to drop a little bit of colour to match with your selfie stick. Now, unless these collars are made by another company, and obviously they buy these collars en masse and they all happen to be black. But for these companies who make these selfie sticks, try to make the collars the same colour as the stem. It gives your item a more of a premium look to it. But as you can see, they're just in that colour of black. Now at the top here, up by where the mount meets the top of the stem here, this is all plastic. There's an actual screw in there with a nut in here. Now, in one way it's good, in one way it's bad, because this is plastic on plastic, and if you keep turning this, eventually it will wear. You're going to have to pop these, and I'm trying to get it into camera, you're going to have to pop these little rubber grommets out, or caps out, to get to the screw and tighten the screw. Now the screw in here on this particular one is a Phillips head, which is a cross one. To those people who don't know what Phillips heads are, it's a cross screw, so it's the one that looks basically like that are in here. So you need, you know, if you keep this for longevity, keep it for a long time, eventually this will wear out and you'll have to tighten that. So it's a bit of a negative on that. This should have been exposed, if anything, so you could tighten it, or just have a thumb screw here to tighten that. Yeah, the actual, I'm trying to get this in my hand, sorry folks. Now to pair this is one of the easiest remotes I've ever paired with. It's very, very easy. Now I'm trying to get it into camera and it's not focusing so good. But anyway, to pair it, you simply press the button, the shutter button here, with a long press. Above it, as I showed you previously in the video, there's a LED light that will glow green as you're pressing it, a solid green. As you go to your phone, now whether it's an iPhone or a iPhone with iOS, or an Android phone from Samsung, LG, whoever, the same procedure applies. You go to the settings, go to Bluetooth, if it's using Android, make sure that your phone in settings on Bluetooth, that's visible for other Bluetooth devices. iOS, you don't need to do that. You do a long press on the button here to when the actual LED is a solid green light. Keep your finger down on the button, and on your phone it will come up. Once it sees it, and it's hard to get that in, it will come up as Viixm. I hope I got that right. Viixm, basically the name of the company, will come up there. You connect it, and then the light, that green light will then start flashing, and it's paired. It will ask to pair. You just click on it, click on to pair it. There is no code needed. It will pair automatically, and once it's paired, the green light will flash. Now, when you take a picture with this particular, or a video with this particular remote, as you take the picture and press the button, the light remains solid to when either the video stops recording, or when you press it again, or when it takes a picture. So when it takes a picture, light is solid. When you stop taking the picture, it will go back to flashing. The remote actually sits in this cradle here, which has two kinds of slots, or rails on either side. So this simply slots in like so. We slide it down and it sits in there like so. And when you bring down the actual top, it keeps it locked in. So when you want to get the remote, even if you want to use it in the position of when it's retracted, you can't get the remote out like that. So to get the remote out, you need to push up the top, pull out the top, and then slide the remote out. Now, like on all my videos, when it comes to testing these selfie stick tripods with their own remotes, I will see if it mutes the sound of the remote, because some remotes, the phone picks it up, but it mutes the sound. So we'll see if it mutes the sound. So I'm going to take a photograph. And it doesn't mute the sound. Now we'll go to video. And it plays the video there, and it doesn't mute the sound, and I'll stop the video. And it stops the video, and there is a sound. So this particular remote does not mute the sound. This is how the Magic Shot looks when it's fully extended and it's on the ground. Now, one thing I have straight away noticed, the footprint of this particular selfie stick tripod when all legs are spreaded out is very narrow, very, very narrow. It actually has a footprint of no more than about 7 inches. It doesn't sit close to the ground like some selfie stick tripods which I've tried before. Sits close to the ground. There is a bit of a gap, and the gap I would say is probably about from the bottom of the stem to the floor, probably about 2.5 inches. So it sits very, very narrow. Me personally, this to me is more of, if you're going to have this fully extended, is more for being on tabletops, or you can place it on a chair or a work surface, things like that, or things like that. Basically, that's what it's really for, rather than outside. You can use it outside if you want, but like I always say, if you're going to have something like this, especially with narrow legs, how it displays with a narrow footprint like that, I would tether it, piece of string basically, tie it around the middle, tie it to a post, because a gust of wind will, or a breeze will topple this over, because the legs are so narrow how they sit to the floor. This is my 2p worth on the Viixm, and I hope I got that one right, but I doubt it. Magic Shot tripod selfie stick. Now, I bought this off Amazon for $11.99 in England. That's the price over here for it. And it's not a bad little selfie stick tripod. If you're looking for something to take with you on holiday, this is one of the ones I would take. It's not bad for the price, what you get. There are some things that I think they needed to do on this to improve it a little bit, but it's not bad for the price, what you pay for it. So I'll start this with the negatives first to get them out of the way, and there's a couple of negatives. The first one has to be the actual legs of this thing. That's where the main negatives of this thing are coming from. First of all, the handle, because the legs act as the handle as well, or double up as the handle, it's too smooth. Even though it's got a nice matte finish on it, not then a gloss finish to it, a bit too smooth. They needed some sort of grip on this. It didn't have to be rubber, but they could have put a kind of finish on there that makes it more grippy. Also, another negative is the thickness of the legs. They're not too thin and they're not too thick. They're kind of in between, but I'd much prefer for around £12, a bit more plastic on the legs, a bit more thickness on the legs. I like how they put the rubber on there, but a bit more thickness on the legs. Also, when the legs are spread out, as I showed you earlier on in the video, when taking this outside, it has a narrow footprint. So you have to be aware it doesn't sit low to the ground. I know that it's an extended selfie stick, I know that part, but the actual legs itself could have been slightly a bit longer and could sit more lower to the ground, because if because our smartphones these days are quite big and most people have big smartphones, it only takes a little bit of a breeze to blow this and topple this over with your smartphone. So the legs could have been a little bit longer, just a little bit, and sit more closer to the ground. A next negative has to be the remote. Even though I stated it's one of the easiest remotes to pair, so that's a positive. Taking the battery out of this, which I always do for my tests on selfie sticks, if they got the remote and they need a battery, taking the battery out of this, believe me, it is not easy. Opening it up is easy, but you have to be aware this button will drop out, and to place the button back in is fiddly. All in all, it is very fiddly to replace the small coin cell battery, which is a CR1220, very small coin battery, into this thing. So when this battery runs down, be prepared to give yourself at least half an hour, and I mean half an hour, to pull this, to take apart the actual remote and to replace the battery. It is very, very fiddly. The next thing has to be the top of this selfie stick. I would rather this company placed a kind of Golf Pro thumb screw type thing, or even like a thumb screw at the top to tighten this. It is tight when it holds its position, don't get me wrong, it's all right, but because it's plastic, rubbing against plastic and relying on that kind of friction, after a while of use of this thing, especially if you tend to keep it for a good while, it will loosen up. So that means you'll have to take out the cap. Like I previously said, you have to take these caps off and get to the actual Phillips screw that's inside this head here. So that's a negative. That could have been a thumb screw that's up there to tighten this. The last negative, I have to say, has to be the actual phone mount itself when you want to place it into a landscape position. It is so notchy. It's one of the most notchiest mounts I've ever come across, which in one way is good, but to the people out there, to most people, that's going to be a negative straight off the bat, because it feels like you're going to snap the actual neck of this mount when you're going to turn it with your camera, with your phone on there. Personally, I would take the phone out. I know it's another extra step, but I would take the phone out, then turn it to what you want, then put the phone back in. That's what I would do, because you're literally fighting with this notchiness when you got the phone in there, and you feel that it's in your mind, you feel that this is going to snap. So personally, I take the phone out. Now for the positives of this. The first positive is the build quality. It's got a decent build quality to it, considering that it's only $11.99. It's good plastic that they've used. It doesn't feel cheap in the hand. It just feels reasonable for the price that you're paying. Another positive is the stem. It has a nice thick stem, especially the bottom bit and the top bit on the last section. The last section is quite thick, so it's a nice stem, and I like how stiff the actual stem comes out. Another thing I should have mentioned on the negative was the collars, that they should have put these collars in the same color as the stem, because it's like a nice gunmetal gray. I do like how the actual arm of the phone mount comes out. I like that, and I like the folding of it, especially how it can twist and then fold down. Very easy, very quick to do. I like the thought that they put into this at the top for the phone mount. And the last positive about this particular selfie stick has to be the actual phone mount itself. Now, I have said to you about the notchiness, that's a negative, but that's when it comes to turning from landscape to portrait. But the actual format that holds the phone, I like this particular angle that they put on the bottom piece, so it's not a flat piece, it's at an angle. When it goes to placing your phone in, for some reason, because they placed it at that nice little kind of angle there, try and get it in the white there, that's it, that nice little angle there, it is nice and easy to stick your phone in there and push that up to get your phone in. For some reason, just that little angle makes a big difference. Plus, it can also take your phone with a case on there. Now, I've put a thick case on there. I didn't demonstrate it in the video, but testing this out, I put a thick case on my iPhone 7, and it was a OtterBox case on there, OtterBox Defender case, and this plate went in there and it held it quite well. So it's very good for a selfie stick at that price to hold even a case on a phone such as that. Now, when we get to the bigger phones, my guess is it would still hold that case with that phone in there, because if it can do it on the iPhone 7, it will most likely do it on all the other phones if you've got thick cases like that. So that is really good from that company. One last positive, which I forgot to mention, I like how that company Viixm gives you a spare battery for the remote. Now that's my conclusion, or my 2 pence worth of what I think about the Viixm Magic Snapshot Tripod Selfie Stick. God, that's like a tongue twister, that is coming out. That's my thoughts on it. Now, if you happen to have this particular selfie stick, please leave a comment down in the comment section what your thoughts about it is. Because your opinions are different to my opinion, so leave that down in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. I perfectly understand my videos can be long, but I like to go into detail to save you the trouble of when you buy the product, you know what to expect. So that's why my videos are long. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.